Hey guys, today's topic is one that we've covered on the channel before, but I feel like it's coming up time and time again, so we're just going to cover it once again. It is Call of Duty is officially dead. And before we get into all the numbers and all the good stuff that makes 𝙃𝘼𝐼𝐍𝐿 and all of the Activision bootlickers, it makes them look like fools basically. We're just going to talk about two simple concepts here. What defines a dead game? Is it A, the low and non existent player count of the game, or B, the fact that developers and, the staff are no longer updating the game? The project is just totally abandoned. Well, if you apply these logics to both old and new Call of Duties, they never died. Because if you view it in the optic that it's dead based off the developers are not updating it anymore, then you'd have to say that MW 2019 is dead or Vanguard is dead, when we very well know there's a lot more players on those games than there are on Plutonium or Call of Duty Zombies. So if it's not 500 players and it's got to be zero, or if it's the fact that it's not getting updated anymore, it cannot be either or, because it contradicts, right? It's a contradictory argument. So when you look at the numbers, the data is the only thing that we can go based off of. And I love how 𝙃𝘼𝐼𝐍𝐿 and all of these guys that reply to Blame Truth saying that Call of Duty was the most played game on console. Where's the data to back that up? Please show me where is that data, because so far the only data I see when it comes to player count numbers that's accurate when it comes to Call of Duty is on the Steam charts. And, we'll get into the console comment in a second, but the thing I like about the Steam chart data system is that it shows you the overall peak of the game and the 24-hour peak of the game and how it relates to the monthly cycles. How is the game performing month after month? And basically, Steam Charts has said that Call of Duty has lost 65 to 70% of its player base since Black Ops 6 released. And that's including Warzone, Zombies, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, I think, 2. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. But it's definitely two multiplayers, two zombies modes, Warzone, Rebirth Island, Plunder, campaigns, all of that stuff is incorporated into the one system in the Steam charts that's counting the Call of Duty player count metric. And, I saw this comment saying that the Steam version wasn't that optimized and that the BattleNet version is better or better optimized, or the Microsoft Store version is better optimized. And, although that's true, you can't tell me somebody who bought the game on Steam and didn't know that went and bought it again and spent almost $150 just to play it on BattleNet or Microsoft. You're going to tell, you know what, you might actually be right, because people are that stupid. But when it comes down to it, the fact that the fact that we can't track those metrics on the platform that you say they left to go play on, it doesn't validate your argument. We can't track how many people left Steam to go to BattleNet. We can't see how many people are playing on Microsoft and BattleNet compared to Steam. That's my point. You're arguing a ghost. You're literally arguing with a ghost as your evidence. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. And what I mean by that is, when you get into the console numbers, right, that 𝙃𝘼𝐼𝐍𝐿 likes to, talk crap about on, Blame Truth. He likes to talk shit about him. And basically what happens is console numbers are measured very, very differently in the way that Steam measures them. And what I mean by that is, long story short, I'm going to put it very, very simply for, viewers that don't want to get into the whole, numbers. The way it's measured is not by concurrent players over a period of time. It's basically the amount of logins for the month. That is how consoles measure their monthly player bases. It is the number of logins for the month. Now, here's a lot of things that people don't know. There's a lot of, different names, daily active users, that's how they inflate their player counts for shareholders. But I digress. When you apply, the number of sales that Black Ops 6 had worldwide, I think it's 500 million. Do we think, when we apply the player proportions that Activision said under oath, you know, 25% is on PC, 18% is on PlayStation, and around, 10% is on Xbox. So that means 125 million people are on PC that bought the game. And that means about 90 million are on PS5 or 60 million on Xbox, vice versa, because of the console proportions. You're going to tell me that Call of Duty has 200 million active users across 3 platforms, including mobile? There's no way. There's no shot. There's no shot. I'd give you 100 million max. 100 million max, and that's probably with 50 to 70 million on mobile. I'm being generous here, maybe even 90. Because this is what I mean by when you apply the console logic of it is just monthly users that log in. You don't even need to play the game in order for the system to count you as a monthly player. So basically, you connect to the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 servers for one day in March. It counts you as a player for that month. That's basically the way the system goes. And so I don't know how you can even rebuttal this, because when you counter that with, okay, give me the daily active user number, right? Forget about the amount of people that just log on and then don't play again. The daily active user number for the consoles is probably the closest thing you get to concurrent players on the Steam charts. But the thing is that we still don't have accurate data because it's flawed. Console numbers are flawed. You want to know why? Because I think half of the daily active users on console, half, are playing the, top 10 games on the chart. That's Call of Duty, that's Fortnite. They're playing the top 10 games. That's almost half of the daily active users. I would argue the other half of the daily active users that don't play games in the top 10 are not casuals, which means they play their game over more time. They have longer longevity playing their games because they're not casuals. They're probably hardcore fans if you're playing a game that's in the top 20, top 25, that's not very well known, but it's probably, well known on YouTube if you're looking it up for it and you're a big fan. So I would argue that players out of the top 10 have longer longevity on the game on consoles than games in the top 10, because games in the top 10 are meant for casuals. So if you have this person logging into Call of Duty every time he plays, right? And then you have this one person that just logs in for the month, and then that's it. Those people are still bundled up into one group on console. That's flawed, and that's a way to artificially inflate your player numbers. I'm sorry. That's not the way you're supposed to measure the concurrent player base on your game. Okay? And do we really think Call of Duty has even close to the same amount as concurrent players as Fortnite on console? Really put this in perspective here. J God, that's the question. That's $1 million question for you right now. Do you think Call of Duty has even remotely close to the same number of concurrent players on console, just like Fortnite? Because when you break the actual numbers down of who owns what platform, because that we do have, there's like 1 billion people that own PCs, and the number of console owners I think is at 600 million. So for every, one console player, there's 2 PC players. And maybe that's why Activision is under oath saying that PC is their second largest platform. So we could get into that, but, when we actually get the hardcore data point that we have for the player count total when it comes to mobile, PC, Xbox, and PS4, it was 1 million people, and that number was seen in a museum in Spain. It's a very well-known incident. That player count leaked online, and it was about 1.3 million people, give or take, concurrent players. But you have 500 million sales on Black Ops 6. So you have 500 million sales, but then about 3 years ago, when Call of Duty was still very popular, you have a million concurrent players. Something is very wrong here. Something is very wrong. And, sales does not mean, you have a healthy player base. And especially if that means that you sold more copies on PC and it shows on PC that you are bleeding players more than you ever have. So I find it difficult to believe that player bases that are more casual are more loyal to their games that are not. And basically, all of the games that are not meant for casuals are outside of the top 10. And so it doesn't really help your argument when you say that basically not loyal concurrent players are playing your game on this platform, because we're arguing the point of a healthy concurrent player base and you're using evidence that's artificially inflated and doesn't even exist and that's known to be flawed and skewed. We just have to make that a point of emphasis here. So that's it. I hope you guys have a good one. I hope you guys figure it out. It's dead. It's dying. There's nothing you could do about it. If you're happy about it, it's a long time coming. If you're not happy about it, keep being a bootlicker.